For years, Ariana Grande's unreleased songs kept appearing online. Not rough fan recordings, clean studio demos, private photographs, footage from recording sessions. Sometimes the material spread before Ariana had even decided whether the public should hear it. Fans treated each leak like a surprise gift. But behind the screen, somebody may have been breaking into the digital lives of the people around her, collecting unfinished work and selling it piece by piece. Now Ariana is fighting back. On July 27, 2026, she filed a lawsuit in Los Angeles against anonymous defendants. The filing does not yet give them real names. It calls them John Doe 1 and John Does 2 through 100. And the detail that makes this story disturbing is simple. According to the complaint, the alleged hackers did not need to break directly into Ariana's own phone. They targeted the photographers, producers, and technicians trusted with her work. The story described in the lawsuit begins in 2019. Ariana says attackers obtained the login credentials for a Dropbox account belonging to a photographer who had worked with her. Inside were unreleased photographs that were never meant for public consumption. One stolen password could open years of carefully controlled work. A private shoot could become public before Ariana approved an image. A discarded photograph could be copied forever. Once a file escaped, there was no reliable way to pull every copy back. Then, according to the lawsuit, the attacks moved closer to the music. In 2020, the defendants allegedly hacked the mobile device of a producer who had collaborated with Ariana. The device reportedly contained masters, demos, footage from recording sessions, and material that was still being developed. That distinction matters. A demo is not always a hidden masterpiece waiting to be discovered. It can be an experiment, an abandoned chorus, a temporary lyric, or a performance the artist never chose to release. Listening to it without permission removes the artist's right to decide when the work is finished. But online leak culture rewards speed, not consent. A file can move from a private device to a seller, then to a buyer, then to hundreds of accounts in a single night. The original source becomes harder to identify with every repost. The complaint says the stolen material was divided into batches and sold using third-party payment services, including PayPal and Cash App. Buyers allegedly helped publish the files across multiple platforms. What looked like random fan uploads may have been the visible end of an organized marketplace. That marketplace depends on anticipation. The more secret a project is, the more valuable an early file can become. Private buyers contribute money. One person receives the material, and somebody eventually releases it publicly for attention. This creates a dangerous illusion. By the time an ordinary listener hears the track, it feels free and ownerless. The payment, deception, and private account access have disappeared from view. But every successful leak proves there is an audience for the next one. Curiosity at the end of the chain can reward whoever broke into the beginning of it. By 2023, the problem had exploded. Ariana's lawsuit alleges that 45 unreleased songs were hacked, stolen, and leaked during that year alone. It also says hundreds of similar leaks have occurred since her music career began in 2011. One song showed exactly how quickly stolen work could escape its original context. Fans called it Fantasize. Ariana later explained that she had written it for a television comedy project about a girl group. It was not originally intended to become one of her own official singles. But after the song leaked, an unauthorized version appeared on Spotify under a fake artist name. It entered a daily Spotify chart in the Philippines before being removed, and a dance built around it spread across TikTok. For listeners, it was catchy content. For Ariana, it was a creative decision made without her. She publicly asked people to stop spreading the leak and described the experience as disheartening. There was also a strange consequence. The audience response showed her that people connected with part of the sound. Ariana later said that some of those early ideas influenced completely different music on Eternal Sunshine. That does not turn the theft into collaboration. It shows an artist trying to regain control after an unfinished experiment had already been judged by millions of strangers. The next alleged attack was less technical and more deceptive. In January and February of 2024, The lawsuit says the defendants created a Gmail account and a domain name that impersonated one of Ariana's photographers. They allegedly contacted the photographer's digital technician and convinced that person to send private images. NAB. Dramatic code was required. The alleged attackers simply appeared trustworthy long enough for someone inside the workflow to hand over the files. This is why celebrity security is difficult. A major production can involve photographers, assistants, editors, producers, studios, cloud storage, and outside contractors. Every person needs access to something. Every account becomes another possible doorway. According to Ariana's complaint, the consequences went beyond embarrassment. She says leaks disrupted business relationships and her creative process, damaged her sense that her livelihood was secure, and forced her to re-record material or modify release dates. She also says she spent significant resources investigating the activity and removing unauthorized uploads. The lawsuit accuses the unidentified defendants of invasion of privacy, violating California's computer access law, and conversion, a claim involving wrongful control over someone else's property. Ariana is requesting a jury trial, the return of her private materials, and an order stopping further distribution. But how can she sue people when she does not know their names? The John Doe labels allow the case to begin while the identities remain unknown. If the court permits discovery, Ariana's lawyers can seek records from platforms, payment services, email providers, and other companies connected to the alleged transactions. Those records could reveal accounts, payment trails, or technical information that points to real people. There is no guarantee the process will identify everyone. Accounts can be disposable. People can operate across borders. A long chain of buyers and reposters can make responsibility difficult to separate. That may be why this lawsuit is about more than recovering 45 songs. Ariana's filing presents the leaks as a years-long attack on the boundary between creating something and releasing it. Fame makes millions of people feel close to an artist. It does not give them ownership of every unfinished recording, rejected photograph, or private moment stored by someone on the artist's team. Unfinished work can be deeply personal even when it never becomes commercially valuable. Choosing to abandon an idea is part of making art. A leak removes that choice and turns the creative process itself into a product. For years, the anonymous sellers had the advantage. They could hide while Ariana's work traveled around the world without her permission. Now she is using the court to reverse that relationship. The names in the case are still blank. The digital trail may decide whether they stay that way.